How's you going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's workshop. Not a bad day going on here today. It's a little bit overcast, but kind of blue, kind of chilly. It's probably -4 or something like that. The lake still froze, and we had a little bit of snow last night, an inch or two. And we got the lake covered. Everything looks nice and clean and fresh now. Isn't that pretty? Tell you what, nothing nicer than a nice, fresh snowfall. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the snow today. I got a little bit of a job that I want to do in the Massey Motel. So let's go in there and have a look. I'll tell you all about it. So I'm out here in the Massey Motel with the Massey Ferguson GC 2300 awesome tractor, and it's just loving it out here in the Massey Motel, I must say. But the reason I'm out here is because I got a little project I want to do, probably in the back corner. Years ago, I used to have a truck, and I used to, every time I go to town to get my fuel, I'd put the fuel cans in the back of the truck because they always spill fuel, right? You know what they're like. And diesel fuel especially leaves an awful odor behind, and gas, it's quite an odor too. So that's why I'd use the truck. It wasn't an issue. I'd just put it in the back of the truck, spilled, so what? You know, it's just in the bed of the truck, no big deal. But then I got rid of my truck and ended up with an SUV. There you go, that's what I'm looking for, an SUV. So yeah, I had SUVs then. So that means whenever I go to town, I'd have to put my gas cans in the vehicle, and that was bad. That idea stunk, literally, because it always spilled fuel, and it would stink up the whole cabin of the SUV. So I was down to Halifax one time and I went to Princess Auto and I bought myself a carrier that goes on the back of the vehicle and hooks into a trailer hitch mount on the vehicle. They're great. If you're ever thinking about doing something like this, I highly recommend them. It's about 4 feet wide, it's about 24 inches deep, and they had about a, I don't know, 5 or 6 inch rail going all the way around the edge of it. And it's made out of square tubing, so you can put lots of stuff on there. You can strap it down with ratchet straps, never moves. So now what I do when I go to town, and like last week I went to town, get some diesel fuel. So you put this rack on the car, and it only takes, you know, 5 minutes to put it in the trailer hitch and put the pin in it and lock it up. And you put your cans in there, strap them down with a diesel with a ratchet strap, and away you go to town, fill your fuel up. It's great, works great. The problem I have though is where I store my carrier. I used to store it in where I have my ATV, and there's not a lot of room to store things in there. It's kind of a cramped space. But now that I have this big, you know, luxury Massey Motel out here, I'm thinking I'm going to take that carrier, store it out here rather than put it in the bike shed where it's cumbersome and hard to get to. So that's what we're up to today, back in that back corner. Don't know whether you can see or not, but that's where I'm going to try and hang this up. So let's get at her. So here's the carrier, made out of square tubing. The carrier itself is 18 inches deep, but then by the time you get to your vehicle, you're over 2 feet. You're 2'4" probably, the time you get to the vehicle. And the drop down here for the neck is, let me see, from center to center is 7 inches. But what I find when you put this carrier on the vehicle, you have to be careful, especially if you have hatchback, because on my Bronco, the whole hatchback opens up. So when it swings up, you have to make sure that whatever you put in here is far enough back so that the door doesn't bang into it. That was one of the things I had to watch for. But anyway, yeah, this thing works really, really good. So in order to hang this up, I'm thinking I'm going to put a couple of metal pegs in the walls to hold it. So we're going to make those little metal pins right now. So I've got some 3-inch rod here. So we're going to set that here in the vise. I'm going to cut it in half. Let me see, how long is it? It's 11 inches, so 5.5 inches ought to do fine. And then we'll cut this off. So now I'm just going to take this to the grinder. I'm going to smooth up this edge, kind of round it over. Do the same on this end because I'm going to be putting these in the studs on the wall. That's not bad. I'll do the same with the other one now. So I'm back in the corner here of the Massey Motel. I'm thinking to put a pin in here and a pin in here because the unit is 54 inches wide, which is right there. And it's 18 inches. The rack on it is 18 inches, so I could even stick the rack in above this shelf unit a little bit if I could. So I think what I'll do, in order to give myself, room to lift it up and set it on the pins, I'm going to come down here 5 inches. 5 inches right there, and 5 inches right there. And half of that is right about there. And right about there. Now I'd like to drill an angled hole. Using a block like that sometimes is a good idea. You hold it against the wood and then you can drill in this way. So we'll try it. I'm going to start the drill here and then line it up. Okay, that's a high height for me to press, so I'm just going to eyeball it here. I need to get a ladder. That's what I need to do. Now we're talking, eh? And then we're going to take our pin. I never painted these or anything, eh? So that should work good. Oh, by the way, the Wooloo works good too. Hello? Yeah, I'll be right there. So we're back. It's no big deal. Nanny just needed me to get her some water. So we're going to finish drilling this hole. You know what's happening? I'm drilling this right into the nails that I used to hold down this top plate. That's what happens, eh? Half of my bit was sharp too, but it's not. Okay, let's put this pin in here. There we go. Now, I'm going to go get the rack and we'll stick that on there and see how it looks. Okay, now, we'll lift this up here. I don't know, man. Not much wrong with that, is there? So I think that's going to work out all right, eh? I was concerned that it might stick into the shelter too far, but if you look there, if you look and see how the offset goes into the stud cavity, so if you scan right along the edge of the wall there, it's not sticking up that far, is it? Works good, and it's even easy to put up there because I got lots of room to maneuver. So I think it's going to work good. Good idea I had. And also, it was a great idea. You saw a real life test here, getting these Wooloos. That's working out good too. Whenever Nanny needs me, she just calls me. It's working good. And I was out, out near the end of the lane the other day, and she called me. Perfect. One other thing I'd like to talk about. Some time ago, I did a video about these aftermarket batteries. Oops. These aftermarket batteries for the rigid drill drivers. They're working good. My only complaint is sometimes they fall out of the tool, but hey, that's not bad. I've only charged them once, so they're lasting quite well. In fact, this one right here is down to 3 bars. I don't use them like every day now, but yeah, they're lasting good. So yeah, these aftermarket batteries, they're Grampie's Workshop approved. But I also had a comment the other day from a viewer, and thank you very much for these comments because we learned so much, eh? Like, there's a channel, RCAF Polar Express, Dave from RCF Polar Express. At the end of all his videos, he always says, let's keep exchanging these ideas, because when we exchange ideas, it works out so well. Another channel that does that is Russell Bellevaux. I'll put a link to those channels down below. Russell's got a nice channel. He lives down in Bellows Cove in Nova Scotia too. He's a Nova Scotian, gonna like that. But Russ is always talking about exchanging ideas, passing our knowledge back and forth between one another. That way we raise the bar for everybody, and I think that's a great idea. So the comment I had in my video was, why did I go ahead and buy these aftermarket batteries for my Rigid tools when you can just send or contact Rigid with your warranty information about the battery that you registered with Rigid, and they'll send you a new one. Well, it was my understanding that I had to take my battery back to the service center that's in Halifax, and that's 2 hours away, 2 hours down, half hour at the store, 2 hours back. You know, that's a big hunk out of my day, and I can't be away from Nanny for that long. So anyways, this viewer said, you don't have to do that. You just contact them, give them the information, and they'll send you a replacement battery. It was my understanding you had to take it to the service center. So anyways, I'm going to investigate that. But thanks very much for that tip. And like everybody says, when we exchange information here on the YouTube community, everybody grows, everybody gets smarter, and the bar goes up. So that's great. I'm going to check that out and see how we make out. But in the meantime, thanks a million for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up me, leave me some comments, and we'll talk to you soon.